Hi guys, my name is Hannah. I've been a camp staff at Variety Village for the last 5 years, and today I'm going to be showing you how to do a watercolor of the Toronto skyline. So here's a look at our final product. I'm going to talk you through some of the materials you're going to need to start out. So you're going to need a cup. That's okay to get some paint in it, even if it'll wash out. You'll need a set of watercolors. If you have any type of watercolors lying around your house, those will be awesome, whether they're in tubes or on a tray like mine. You're going to need some tape, either some masking tape or painter's tape, a pair of scissors, a large paintbrush and a small paintbrush, and then optionally if you have any white acrylic paint or any other type of white washable paint, you can use that as well, but that's optional. Next, and super important, you're also going to want to put some newspaper down to make sure you don't get your table too messy. And you're also going to need a sturdy piece of paper, like a piece of construction paper or even better watercolor paper if you have it. And then you're going to want your printout of the Toronto skyline that I've attached to this video. So to start out, you're going to cut out your skyline. You can see here I'm starting with that straight line along the bottom, and then I'm going back through and I'm going to be cutting out each of those towers. Speeding through this here just because it's not as visible in the video, but if you accidentally cut off a tower, that's totally fine. You can always go back and paint them later. You're trying to be as precise as possible, but no big deal if you accidentally cut something off. So you can see my final product here. I have this cut out of the skyline. I have accidentally cut off the top of the CN tower, but I can always go back through and paint that after. Next, I've attached a piece of painter's tape to the bottom of my cutout. You're welcome to use a piece of masking tape or painter's tape. Either works super well for this. And you're going to tape that cutout that you've just made to the piece of watercolor or construction paper that you've got there. And what you can see I'm doing here is really making sure to flatten it down so that my cutout is as close and smooth to the paper as it can be, so that when I put my paint down, that space is going to remain dry. And I've already got some ink on this one just so that you can see it compared to that white paper there. Next, I'm taking my larger paintbrush and I'm going to use my cup of water and I'm going to mix two colors. I'm going to be mixing my dark purple and my dark blue. And for this part, it's totally fine if you're a little bit messy. I'm just combining both on my tray there, and I'm going to start adding them right into the sky. I'm going to alternate between using blue and purple. I'm going to keep going from one side of the page to the other. And it's important here, you'll note that my brush strokes, when I'm going over the buildings, are always going in an upwards motion to try and make sure that I'm not lifting that paper up and trying not to get any paint underneath it. If you accidentally do, no big deal, you can always just keep going. You can be as messy as you want with this. So making sure my brush strokes are going up, I'm going to fill the entire sky around my buildings. And now that I'm all done, I'm actually going to pull that piece of tape and that original cutout all the way off my page to leave that negative space. And we're going to reveal the skyline we've got there. So you can see that there's some spots where the paint went under. That's no big deal. I'll be fixing that after. So you're going to want to let your painting completely dry here for at least 7 minutes before we move on to our next step. So here you see I've got my painting completely dry. I'm going to take that acrylic paint. Again, this is an optional step if you don't have it at home, no big deal, but we're going to make some stars on our sky. So using any type of white washable paint or acrylic paint, and once again the smaller paintbrush and the cup of water, I'm going to mix a little bit of water with that acrylic paint just so that it's a bit more runny, and then I'm actually just going to use my paintbrush and flick the paint onto the sky that I've just made. Trying not to get too much paint on my brush each time so that my blobs aren't too large. And once again, this is one of the times when it's really important to make sure that you have your newspaper down so that you don't get any splatters of paint on the table, as you can see that I'm doing right now. Now, once that white paint is dried, probably about 3 more minutes, we're going to go ahead and do our skyline. So I'm going to be mixing the dark blue, the dark purple we used before, and our dark brown to create a black since I don't have any in my paints. And I'm going to be moving from one side of the page to the other just like we did last time and filling in all of our buildings. And I'm going to try and keep a straight line at the bottom of my buildings so that the edge of this painting is relatively straight. And you can have some fun here. You can always add in some buildings that you didn't have before to make some of them taller. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you had as much fun doing it as I did, and I look forward to seeing everybody in the variety community as soon as possible, and I wish you all a safe and healthy time in the meantime. All the best.